Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the Johns Hopkins School of Education STEM and Mathematics Instructional Leader Pre-K through 6 virtual webinar. My name is Sion John. I'm the Assistant Director of Admissions at the Johns Hopkins School of Education. Also presenting today, we have my colleague from the Office of Admissions, Tyreen Maddox, Professor and Faculty Lead, Dr. Steven Pape. And before we get started, I would like to cover a few housekeeping topics. First, today's webinar is being recorded. We will be able to share a link with you after the event is complete. Second, please have your mic on and mute during the presentation. There will be a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Feel free to type your question in the chat box or unmute yourself to speak. At this time, my colleague from the Office of Admissions, Tyreen, will take it from here.
Good afternoon. First, I would like to share the agenda for today's webinar. We will kick off the presentation sharing an overview of the Johns Hopkins School of Education. Then Dr. Pape will introduce himself and go over the program details of the STEM and Mathematics Instructional Leader Pre-K through 6 graduate certificates. Lastly, we will go over admissions requirements and leave the floor open for questions towards the end. So just to start, some quick facts about Johns Hopkins University School of Education. We are one of 9 schools at the Johns Hopkins University. We began offering college courses for teachers in 1909 and then became our own school in 2007. We are very proud to share that the Johns Hopkins School of Education is consistently ranked one of the top schools in education by the U.S. News and World Report. As far as student enrollment, we do have a total of 2,437 enrolled students, and we do offer more than 30 plus graduate programs, which includes doctoral, master's, and graduate certificate programs. Lastly, we have over 22,000 SOE alumni. Our faculty presenter today is Dr. Steven Pape. Dr. Steven Pape is the faculty lead for the Mathematics and STEM Instructional Leader Pre-K through 6 program. His research focuses on technology-enhanced classroom context that fosters mathematical understanding and the development of strategic behaviors at the middle school level, and virtual professional development that support mathematics teachers' knowledge for teaching mathematics. All right, Dr. Pape, I think you can take it from here.
Sure. So just a little bit about myself. I've been at Hopkins for 9 years. Prior to that, I was at the University of Florida and Ohio State University, where I ran their math, their elementary, middle school, and taught in the elementary math teacher education programs. And, you know, I do this work because it's really important. You all are the folks who are in the trenches and working with young learners, and mathematics and STEM education are really, really important at the pre-K through grade 6 level. So while I was trained as a secondary math educator, I have really moved into the pre-K through 6 level because of the importance that you all play in developing the students' mathematical reasoning, the STEM science reasoning. And so I think this is a really important program for children and for our schools. So I'd just like to ask if you would introduce yourself. I think we only have one person, so it's an intimate group today. If you would just say a little bit about yourself, where do you work, you know, what city maybe, and what brings you to this program, what brings you to our webinar, and what goals would you pursue as a math or STEM, within the math or STEM leadership program? Go ahead and just open up your mic and you can.
Okay. Hello, my name is Tamiya Wilson. I am an elementary school teacher. I've taught for 15 years. This will be my 16th year. I'm in Georgia. I've taught STEM. Okay, so I taught STEM for about 4 or 5 years. And before that, just regular homeroom class. But I fell in love with teaching STEM and I want to pursue that. I want to keep pursuing it. So I figured if I could get a certification in it, as I got as much STEM experience as I could in my science endorsement, and that was a 2-year program. So if I could just focus strictly on STEM, and hopefully create my own program or be a coach for a school. That would be a goal of mine for this certification.
Yeah, so you are definitely the type of student that we are looking for, the type of teacher, the type of professional with 15, 16 years of teaching. You know the ropes. And so, yeah, this is really about becoming an instructional leader and supporting your colleagues to enact powerful learning environments. I just have to close my blinds because I'm going to get hit by the sun. So let's go to the next slide, please. So this is precisely for you. And you said, I'm going to say Tyrene, and I know that that's not right. Say your name again, sorry.
Oh, Tamiya, like Camille with a T.
Okay.
Yep.
Tamiya.
Mhm.
So, who would benefit? Practicing teachers like yourself, seeking leadership roles, seeking knowledge about the coaching process, about effective professional development. I mean, as you know, as a teacher with your experience, there's a lot of professional development out there that is one-shot deals, and we know that those are not really effective. So we try to work on ideas around coaching and professional development, as well as curriculum development, and just being a leader within a school or a school district. So more and more districts are placing a premium on teachers who can support other teachers to teach mathematics and STEM well, or STEM, including mathematics. And so it sounds like you are more focused in STEM. And so we try to build both the subject content knowledge as well as the pedagogy and focus on the professional development and instructional leadership literature. So as you likely know already, who is the math coach, right? A coach mentors teachers, supports the development of instruction, works with principals to create school-specific goals. And so really trying to be the leader within the school building or within the district. In order to be an effective coach, we need to be teacher-centered. So we need to really build those relationships with our colleagues and slowly begin to work with them to understand both their needs as well as their goals, and to really try to think about what is best for both the teacher, probably teacher first, but also for the students, certainly. And it's really important, and we talk a lot about this, but building those connections with your colleagues as you transition into a leadership role. I don't know whether you've had a leadership role before, likely you did. And so you understand the importance of that teacher connection to support competence and creativity. So the program is 6 courses. It is a certificate. You mentioned certification. It is not certification in the state of Georgia, but a certificate. Typically, students take 2 courses per semester, but that can be altered as well. It is best to start in the fall because the sequence of courses, although we work it out with people who started other times, it's best to start in the fall. The faculty are really interesting folks. They're all experienced content experts. I teach 1 class. My colleague, Sarah Donaldson, teaches 2 of the classes. And then even a former student of mine from Ohio State University teaches 1 of the courses during the summer. So it's really quite fun. And in Maryland, it does lead to an endorsement. All right, but it would not necessarily lead. You would have to check out Georgia's rules and regulations. It likely does not. I don't know whether they have an endorsement, but we don't endorse people for other states. So the course delivery is for the most part asynchronous. So there's readings, there's discussions asynchronously. Many of the courses also have synchronous sessions. So the 1 course that I teach, the Foundations of Mathematics, we have a synchronous session about every 2 to 3 weeks. And that is typically to work on the mathematics that we're learning, and to just have conversation about the development of that mathematics. The other types of delivery mechanisms are small interactive groups or whole class participation, individual projects. A lot of it is project-based, so you do something and you either discuss it with your colleagues, or you might have to do something, engage teachers and students as you transition into this leadership role. So we try to make it as active as possible and use the online format to do that as effectively as possible. Here's a quote from one of our former students. And I think it's important that she said things about hands-on training, because that's really what we want. We want folks to come in and to work with their students, to try some things out. Toward the end of the program, to work with teachers and provide some professional development. The class sizes are small. And as she says, the combination of synchronous and asynchronous sessions allows you to get to know one another. So one of the things I think is really important in all programs, but especially in online programs, is the building of community and to build connections with each other across the United States and even internationally. Each of the course sessions has objectives. And so this is just one example of a session in the physical science course. And if you have an endorsement or certification in in science, there may be a possibility that we could use one of those courses for one of the courses in the program, if that's appropriate. So then we really use a lot of online simulations, especially in the physical science course, as we're showing here, so that you are active. Another activity within this course is building a roller coaster and looking at the energy that is kinetic and potential energy within that system. We use a lot of videos in order to, and this is the roller coaster activity, but we use a lot of videos to engage folks in looking at some common experience and then talking about that from your perspective. So here's the overview. So there's 3 core courses, and we'll go through each of them, and then 2 content-specific courses, and then a practicum. So those are the 6 courses, and we'll go through those in more detail. So the 3 required courses is the Math Foundations course, an Advanced Methods course, and then the Instructional Leadership and Professional Development course. And I'll explain each of those courses in a moment. So the Math Foundations course really looks at that early development of mathematics. We feel that it's very important for students, STEM or math focused, to have that understanding of the very fundamental topics within the pre-K through grade 6 curriculum. So we're really looking at the development of number and operation, for example. We spend a lot of time on how do children develop their notion of number and then the notion of arithmetic operations. And we often look at the connections to the curriculum broadly, all right? So how do these things relate? One of the things that I'm doing with this course starting in the fall is beginning to infuse more computational thinking. So computational thinking and coding in the elementary schools is becoming more popular. And so I know in the state of Maryland, there's now an endorsement for computer science or coding. And they're really trying to train up some of the elementary teachers to be supportive of later development in coding and computer science. And so that's one of the things that I've begun to infuse within this course. So you'll be asked to think about these operations, the measurement, from a computational thinking perspective. And so really looking at the decomposition of thinking and thinking about how you might use computational tools to support students to learn the mathematics. So here is a message from one of the course who couldn't be here, Sarah Donaldson, and she speaks about the two courses that she taught. So this is a brief video.
Hello, my name is Dr. Sarah Donaldson. I'm excited to have the opportunity to introduce you to two of the program courses, Advanced Methods in the Elementary STEM Classroom and Instructional STEM Leadership and Professional Development in Elementary School Settings. When developing these two courses, I combined my background as a classroom teacher, curriculum developer, instructional coach, and professional development coordinator in both elementary and middle schools with my current work as an adjunct faculty member at both Johns Hopkins University and Roger Williams University in Rhode Island to design courses aimed at promoting active, collaborative learning around both current research and practical applications to the professional context of course participants. The development of these two STEM-focused courses supports my ongoing professional learning and research around facilitating authentic student engagement in online learning contexts and promoting educators' ability to engage in critical colleagueship and promote equitable access to high-quality, meaningful STEM, mathematics, and science learning opportunities for diverse students. The Advanced Methods in the Elementary STEM Classroom course will deepen your knowledge of and efficacy with problem-based, student-centered instructional approaches to promoting student learning. Using a mirror, window, and door metaphor as a base, course assignments, discussions, and activities will center on creating opportunities to engage in critical thinking, reasoning, and sense-making around personally meaningful problems by recognizing and drawing upon individual and community assets and resources. Coursework will culminate in the development of a unit plan that will promote equitable access by helping diverse students in your professional context see themselves reflected in STEM contexts, recognize STEM-related issues and problems around them, and take an active role in creating positive change in their world. The Instructional STEM Leadership and Professional Development in Elementary School Settings course will further develop your ability to promote mathematics and STEM equity by increasing your knowledge of effective STEM professional development and curriculum development. Work in this course will center on using case studies to promote individual and contextual reflection, to help you apply emerging knowledge of theoretical and historical perspectives of professional development and their relationship to effective STEM teaching and learning. Your final course project will provide an opportunity for you to act as an instructional leader as you create an action plan proposal aimed at advocating for equitable access to STEM learning experiences within your context for diverse students and their teachers. Throughout both courses, various technologies will be used to promote interaction and deepen knowledge development through collaborative discourse, creative problem solving, and active meaning making. I hope to have the opportunity to engage in learning with you through these courses in the near future as part of the Hopkins learning community.
So these are the two courses that Dr. Donaldson teaches. And I did not mention earlier, the Math Foundations course foregrounds the content and backgrounds the pedagogy. So we speak about how to teach it, but we focus on the content. The Advanced Methods course foregrounds the pedagogy. So we're really looking at active learning. We're looking at how do we integrate the STEM areas, how to engage technology and problem solving, and student-centered instructional strategies, and how to develop a STEM learning environment, which I think is very important because we know that often STEM gets pushed aside, at least in the integrated, well, probably it gets pushed aside sometimes in the elementary schools. So we're really trying to understand how we can integrate STEM even across the curriculum. So I know that there's a couple of sessions in there where reading is part of the lessons. You're asked to understand how to use children's literature in the STEM learning environment. And then the Instructional STEM Leadership and Professional Development Program really looks at what makes effective professional development for teachers, and then explores how we begin to move into that instructional leadership role. It's not, yes, a lot of teachers are asked to go into that role without training, but really it's important to understand both yourself as well as your colleagues in terms of how do you create effective programs for your colleagues to support their development. Then you choose 2 courses in the STEM area. It's physical science and either earth science or life science. And we can make other arrangements around that. So if the earth science and the life science were more aligned with your needs, or one of these courses might actually be within your science certification that you took, and we can talk about that. And similar to the Math Foundations courses, these courses foreground content and background pedagogy. And then in the math, there's algebraic reasoning, algebraic and geometric reasoning, and advanced topics. Again, each of these are more about the content, and the pedagogy is backgrounded. And then students all take a practicum. And this is where you begin to take on that role of instructional leader. There are 2 main projects. So in Dr. Donaldson's course, you create a unit of instruction, and you are then asked to enact that in this course with students. So it's really important to think about that as the courses go, move forward, that you want to be able to use what you do in Dr. Donaldson's course in this course, but you're really applying the knowledge, the dispositions, and the skills in your day-to-day activities. And the second project is working as the STEM leader and providing some type of professional development for your colleagues over that semester. And in this course, you also complete a portfolio, which where you're asked to bring together artifacts from the courses to illustrate your work. And here's another quote. The Mathematics Instructional Leader Certificate has helped me be a more formal resource to my colleagues. The coursework directly applies to my day-to-day teaching, what I'm doing in the classroom, as well as how I collaborate with different teachers. And finally, upon completion, in Maryland, you can get the endorsement. And there are some scholarships available, and here's a link to one of them that we found. Tyreen, do you want to take it over?
All right, thank you, Dr. Pape. So now we're going to continue by going over the application requirements. Applicants must submit a completed application, which can be found on our website, and there is a $80 application fee. Next, we need all official transcripts, including institutions you may have taken courses but did not receive a degree. A 500-word essay must be uploaded to your application, an updated resume or CV, and 2 letters of recommendation, preferably one from a teaching supervisor and another one from your bachelor's or graduate program professor. And lastly, the GRE is not required for this program. In addition, please keep in mind for standard admission requirement, you would need a completion of a bachelor's degree in education or a closely related field from a regionally or nationally accredited institution. Also, it is required to have professional experience teaching mathematics or science in elementary, middle, or secondary schools. And lastly, if you're interested in applying for the Maryland State Mathematics or STEM Instructional Leader endorsement, you must have a minimum of 2 years of teaching experience and currently employed as a teacher or other educational professional working in a pre-K through 6 school or educational setting. There are a few additional steps you need to take in order to complete the application process if you're an international student. You must submit a TOEFL or IELTS score, and if your degree was completed outside of the US, you will need to complete a course-by-course evaluation. Additional information can be found on our website. And the tuition for the next academic school year is $944 per credit for online classes and a $20 per credit technology fee. Please note additional fees apply and are charged separately from tuition. We encourage you to view our tuition and fees page on our website for the most up-to-date information about tuition and fees. And please note the priority financial aid application deadlines listed on this slide. Again, these are priority, And if you're interested in applying for financial aid, we strongly encourage you to apply for financial aid when you start your application. Please visit our website if you have any questions relating to financial aid. You'll find contact information for the Office of Financial Aid and details of loans and scholarships that are available.
So now we'd like to open it up to your questions or your cats. That would work too. What questions do you have for us?
Okay. I think she said something about a deadline for fall. Okay, so I'm kind of in a pickle right now. I am starting my master's after these many years, right? I'm starting my master's in instructional technology, but I also want to pursue this. Would you recommend, like, I know it's going to be rigorous, but would I be able to handle doing this as well as taking my master's? I know it's probably a personal response, but.
So how many courses a semester would you be taking for your master's?
I think it's, for this one, I think it's 2 or 3.
Is that with Hopkins in our Dallas?
No,
okay.
No, it's here. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I have to say that I'm not sure I would take on both at the same time. To just be very honest with you, I want to tell you go ahead and apply. But I think that now we do have programs. Not to ask you to switch, but our master's degree, you could combine the instructional technology with this certificate.
Oh, okay.
Which I think is a really nice joining of the 2 programs, and that would lead to a master's. So we have the option of combining 2 certificates. And so our DALIT program, Digital Age Learning and Educational Technology, I believe is the program. You might want to look into that, because when were you going to start your master's?
In the fall.
In the fall, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you could perhaps combine those 2 certificates here and do the master's. Get this certificate, plus get the instructional technology certificate with extra credits, and that becomes a master's degree.
Absolutely. And I was just going to add to that as well. So the master's Dr. Pape is referring to is the interdisciplinary master's, in which you would be combining the math STEM cert along with the leadership in technology integration, which is the technology certificate. And then ultimately that would customize your master's with a few electives, and then versus the other option that you were speaking about. So that is an option as well. If you were looking to complete your master's, that would be a second option also.
Okay. And I saw 6 courses. Did it say how long? Did you guys mention how long this
The
would
program,
the program is? Yeah.
if it's done individually, it's usually 3 semesters. So you start in the fall, it's fall,
Yeah.
spring, and summer. For this certificate, you would then start the instructional leadership, the leadership and instructional technology certificate the following fall.
Fall. Okay.
And so it would probably be about 2 years, taking 2
Okay.
courses a semester.
Got it. Okay.
I don't recommend more than 2 courses a semester, especially when you're teaching full time.
Yeah. I'm used to all that, my crazy schedule, but okay. Is this offered every semester? Is this offered every year or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is. It's in, as I said, you can join in other semesters. It is best to join in the fall.
The fall. Okay. I want to look more into this because it's especially now that you brought up the combining with the instructional tech. If I could do both, that would be really helpful.
So we could, Tyreen, would you be able to reach out
Sure.
and think about that? And I'm happy for you to reach out to me as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We can definitely chat about it more in detail. Following this presentation, or yeah, there's my information, but I can reach out to you even as early as tomorrow, just so aware of all of your options and can make an informative decision.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'm definitely I'm free tomorrow.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, I have your name and everything. So, Tamiya Wilson, do you mind typing your email address in the chat, or
Yes, sure.
direct phone number? And
Yeah.
Dr. Pape, did you want us to go over the FAQs at this time, or?
So we have some other FAQs that we will kind of go through, and maybe some of the questions you might have. Or do you have any other specific questions?
No, so far that's all I have so far. You've answered quite a bit. Mm-hmm.
So we'll go through some FAQs.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Pape. Yes, so we do have some frequently asked questions that we get for this program. And the first one is, so a lot of our students work full-time and then go to school part-time. So approximately like how many hours do you think prospective students should know in terms of allocation? How many hours per week should students expect on coursework?
So, I mean, that depends. Each semester will be somewhat different. I believe 5 to 8 to 10, hours per course per week. It's a hard one to answer though.
Yeah. So another frequently asked question we have is, what would you say is the most challenging part of completing the certificate online versus in person?
So online education is really, and just to let you know, the instructional leadership program, the leadership and instructional technology program is also online. So all of this could be done online. And so I think one of the important considerations is motivation and the ability to get the work done, right? So online programs, this is asynchronous, so a lot of it is certainly directed, but completed by you on your own time. And so I think that's one of the things. The other thing that's important in this program is that you have a context in which to use some of the information. So oftentimes you're asked to take a problem and work with a couple of children and use their information in thinking about how they think about mathematics or STEM concepts. And then in the final semester, the practicum is, and I misspoke, so I have to say one thing. The practicum, you need to have teachers to work with. I misspoke in terms of it's usually 2 classes, but the practicum is only in the fall. So it's 2 classes in the fall, typically 1 or 2 classes in the spring, 1 or 2 classes in the summer, and then 1 class in the fall. So it does go through to the fall.
Okay, and another frequently asked question we get, are there any specific prerequisite reading materials that I should look into prior to beginning the program that you would suggest?
Yeah, so there are two. So one of the main textbooks is, this is a really pretty famous, you know this book. So we use this throughout the courses to really deepen knowledge as well as to stimulate conversation. And then the other one is the STEM toolkit, which I can't put my hands on. And STEM roadmap. Here it is. I just had to take off my glasses because they're reading glasses. The STEM roadmap book is the other book that is used across several of the courses.
Okay, another frequently asked question, what is the total tuition and fees for the grad certificate for STEM and math? So the estimate total cost for that is about $17,553. Tuition and fees for the 2021 to 22 academic school year. I'm just trying to see if we have any more on the list. Let's see. So sometimes we get the question about like scholarships for teachers. And so we do not offer a discount specifically designated scholarship for teachers, but we do offer, as mentioned in the presentation, a limited number of partial scholarships. As stated, you're just required to complete a short application and as well as the FAFSA in order to be eligible to apply for that. And those are the ones that I have. Sion, were there any more FAQs?
Thank you, Tyrene. Dr. Pape, yes, there is a question. We also had another student join us as well too. So you mentioned something about, again, there's some group projects. What does that look like in a virtual setting?
Yeah, so students get together for group projects in multiple ways. They use Zoom, they use Google Classroom type stuff, and they typically get together and then work on the projects together, and then take up a part of the project, do it themselves, and then pull those parts together. And so it really depends upon the students and how they want to meet. They're welcome to meet in any way. And so it's really synchronous meetings is how they do it. I see that there's another student, Margie. Would you like to open up your video and say hello? Completely up to you.
I am not quite ready for the video, but I will say hello. Hello, everyone. I'm Margie Adams, and I'm a teacher out of Maryland, Prince George's County. Welcome.
Nice. Do you have any specific questions, Margie?
I think I missed the presentation. I was just going to ask if this would be shared, the recording.
Yes, it will.
Okay. Oh yeah, I'd like to have that. That's it. I don't think I have anything pressing just yet.
All right. And if you have any specific questions, feel free to contact me. My email is on the screen now. I'm happy to have a conversation with you separately.
Okay, thank you. I took a picture of that to save for later.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Good deal. Any other questions?
All right, Dr. Pape, we'll wrap it up. Thank you for joining us today for the STEM and Mathematics Pre-K through 6 Instructional Leader Pre-K through 6 virtual webinar. Again, on this slide, there's some important contact information. Please let us know if you would like to have a one-on-one conversation. We'd be more than happy to chat with you. Have a wonderful evening, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Pape, for your time and the wonderful presentation.
Thank you all. And
Thank you, guys.
feel free to reach out to me.